As the villagers gathered under the baobab tree, Elder Safiri said, "Nyota must be troubled. We must send someone to seek her guidance." Amara stepped forward, her voice steady. "I will go." Amara heard a faint cry and found a tortoise trapped in a deep hole. Using a branch, she helped the tortoise out. "Thank you," said the tortoise. "I will repay your kindness." The bird nodded and said, "Your answer is true. Follow me." The sky's ladder loomed before her, its peak hidden in the clouds. Amara's heart raced with determination as she began the climb, her steps echoing on the rocky path. The boulder stood immovable, but Amara remembered the seeds. She scattered them, and vines sprang to life, wrapping around the boulder and pulling it aside. "I have learned that kindness opens the way, wisdom lights the path, and courage carries us forward. Harmony begins in our hearts and actions." Amara bowed deeply, her heart heavy with responsibility as she began the journey back. The winds howled, and the rocks beneath her feet shifted dangerously. Amara clutched the crystal tightly, her determination growing with every step. As dawn broke over Zawadi, Amara stood before the baobab tree, the glowing crystal in her hands. The villagers gathered, their faces filled with hope and anticipation. Amara planted the crystal beneath the baobab tree. A radiant light burst forth, and the first drops of rain fell, bringing life back to Zawadi. The villagers danced and sang as rain poured from the heavens. The land bloomed with life, and Zawadi thrived once more. The villagers gathered under the baobab tree to honor Amara's courage. Her journey became a story of harmony and wisdom, passed down for generations. In the heart of the African plains lay Umoja, a village where people lived like a big family. Children laughed under acacia trees, and the land thrived under the care of its united villagers. One morning, the harmony of Umoja was broken. Two families argued over farmland, and soon the whole village was divided, each side growing angrier by the moment. This village cannot survive divided. We must seek Ndovu, the wisest elephant in the land, to help us find a solution. The villagers set out across the savannah, their feet crunching on the dry grass as the sun blazed overhead. Along the way, they passed herds of zebras grazing peacefully and giraffes towering above the trees. At the edge of the watering hole, Ndovu stood tall, her majestic tusks reflecting the golden glow of the sunset. The villagers bowed respectfully, their voices trembling as they explained the dispute. "To resolve your quarrel, you must prove your strength lies in unity. Meet me at the old baobab tree tomorrow at sunrise, and I will test you." Back in Umoja, the villagers gathered under the baobab tree, debating what the test might entail. "It must be a race," one suggested. "No, a trial of teamwork," said another. Their minds buzzed with anticipation. As the first rays of sunlight touched the baobab's sprawling branches, the villagers waited in hushed anticipation. Ndovu emerged from the morning mist, her presence commanding attention. The villagers stared at the massive basket, their resolve hardening despite the daunting task. The villagers stared at the massive basket, their resolve hardening despite the daunting task. Her words quieted the villagers, sparking a newfound resolve to work as one. The villagers joined forces, each person taking on a role to support the group. Together, they lifted the basket, their voices united in encouragement and direction. With a collective heave, the villagers lifted the basket off the ground. It wobbled precariously, but their united voices steadied it as they began the climb. The path was rugged with rocks and uneven ground. Each obstacle was met with teamwork as villagers cleared the way and steadied the basket with care. Children's laughter and elders' songs filled the air, encouraging the villagers. With each step, their teamwork grew stronger and their spirits lifted. With one final push, the villagers reached the top of the hill, their faces lit with triumph as they gently set the basket down, not a drop spilled. Today, you have shown that unity is your greatest strength. Remember this always, and your village will thrive. The two families embraced, their voices filled with regret and hope. We will share the land, they declared, and work together for the good of Umoja. That night, under the glittering stars, the villagers of Umoja feasted and danced, their laughter and music echoing across the plains. The elders led songs of unity, their voices rising in joyous harmony. The melodies carried the story of Ndovu's lesson across the savannah. The villagers built a monument to honor Ndovu's wisdom, a reminder that unity and cooperation would forever guide Umoja's path. In the valley of Amani, the river Usafi sparkled like diamonds, its gentle currents carrying the whispers of ancestors. The villagers flourished, living in harmony with the life-giving waters. The river, once vibrant and clear, had turned sluggish and murky. The elders gathered under the baobab tree warned, "The spirit of the river is troubled. To restore the river's flow, one must journey to the sacred spring and seek the river spirit's guidance." Among the villagers stood Kofi, a young man with a love for the river's stories. "I will go," he said, his voice steady, his resolve unwavering. The villagers blessed Kofi and prepared him for the long journey ahead. As the first light of dawn touched the river's surface, Kofi began his journey. The river's song, once vibrant, now sounded distant and broken. The fisherman's words echoed in Kofi's heart as he continued along the riverbank. The river led Kofi into a shadowy forest where sunlight barely touched the ground. The whispers of leaves and flowing water seemed to test his resolve. The spirit nodded, its glowing form dissolving into the trees, and a glowing path appeared before Kofi. The spirit vanished, and the trees parted, revealing a glowing path of stepping stones across the river. Kofi stepped forward, his heart steady, his resolve stronger. The river roared as jagged rocks broke its surface. Kofi gripped the carved gourd, its wisdom guiding his steps across the slippery stones. Kofi spotted a small bird struggling in the rapids. Without hesitation, he reached out, saving it from the water. "Your kindness will be repaid," the bird whispered before flying into the trees. On the other side of the rapids, Kofi found a barren shore. The river had vanished, leaving behind dry, cracked earth and lifeless plants. Kofi wandered into a forgotten village, its huts crumbling and its well dry. A ghostly figure emerged whispering, "This is what happens when the river's gifts are taken for granted." Kofi's resolve grew stronger as he envisioned a better future for his people. The river pooled into slow-moving spirals as though it wept. Kofi knelt by its edge, his thoughts heavy with the lessons of gratitude and balance. The river's greatest gift is life itself, for it nourishes all who depend on it. The crocodile nodded, its massive form retreating into the depths. The path ahead lay clear, and Kofi stepped forward, his resolve unshaken. At last, Kofi stood before the sacred spring, its sparkling waters flowing gently amidst towering rocks. The air was alive with the sound of a harmonious song, as though the river itself was singing. I have come to restore the river's song, so my people may thrive once more. Balance and gratitude are the keys to harmony. Take this vial and let its waters remind your people of their bond with the river. This vial holds the river's life. Use it wisely and teach your people to honor the bond they share with its waters. The villagers danced and sang by the river, their joy flowing as freely as the restored waters. Life returned to the fields and trees, and laughter filled the valley. The river's gifts are precious and must be honored. Let us teach this lesson so the river's song never fades again. You have restored not just the river, but the bond of gratitude and harmony. May your village thrive as long as this lesson endures. The story of Kofi and the river became a song carried in the voices of children and the whispers of the flowing waters. The village of Amani flourished, its fields lush, its people joyful, and its river singing the melody of unity and life.